Well, then let's start this out with a 5 times U. Want to?
Yes.
Okay. Get yourself comfy. Good idea. Yeah, we're good. Take a couple of deep breaths. Relax. Relax your back. Relax your shoulders. Relax your legs. Just totally relax. Let your mind sit on the corner for a minute. You're just going to hang. I want you to relax and keep your eyes closed. We're going to take a little walk. Matter of fact, we're going to walk up a mountainside here for a minute. I'm going to take you through a pine forest, and I'm going to take you to a little plateau. I want you to meet a couple of people. So as we all start on this journey, I want you to just watch your consciousness. I want you to be the watcher. So let's all take off walking up this trail. We're going to go up a trail on a mountainside. I want you to smell these pine trees. Smell that pine tree? Feel your feet walking up this path. Is that a deer over there I see? And as we walk up this path, we're going to come to a clearing. And we find ourselves at the edge of this mountain, overlooking a valley. And down that valley is a gorgeous city of jewels. The city is emanating colors and light. Now we have 2 guests here that would like to say something to you. So I want you just to relax, take a few minutes of silence, and listen to what comes in. Thank you. May the blessings be. Anybody get a semblance of who's talking to you?
Yes.
Hmm?
Yes.
Petar's ask. I brought Paul Twitcher over to you, and I brought Phoebe Quantz over to you. If you guys saw an old man with a big white beard put his finger at you, you saw Phoebe Quantz. He played with those things till you recognize or you can see these spiritual guides and what they have to say. That was just a short little piece, but start putting yourself out. And at night, you're going to see spiritual travelers coming and taking you to spiritual places where you'll have a dissertation. You'll be taken to some cities where there is great lectures going on all over. You're going to see light like you've never seen it before. You have to start letting go of this physical world. This isn't your home. This is just where you're playing. Sometimes it's time to stop playing and become the light, as we've been talking about. So become the light. It's like being anything. You want to be a practitioner? Be a practitioner. But merge with that which is. And there's no definition of that. That's the problem. You already are that. You know, growing up, I had an intense need to understand the alone state, the extreme aloneness that each one of us feels when there's nothing else there. Not loneliness, the aloneness of which you have been walking with. We tend to get our friends and loved ones to fill that void that we think we have. We think we're looking for soulmates. There is no soulmates. We're all soulmates. You stand alone, always. When I read one of Paul Twitchell's books, he had a chapter in there that said that alone exists. Only those that have moved into these spiritual realms, and especially these higher spiritual realms, understand what that means. That's why I've always said, get yourself someplace that's just yours. And journey into your aloneness. Because it's in that alone state that you'll find all of us there. Or more appropriately, here. The here is not here, but it's here. Hard to explain the duality and the separation that is the grand illusion of God. You must understand that it alone exists. There's nothing but it. And when you get into that alone state, you will have that taste of what God is experiencing of itself. And this is why the creation exists. And you're part of God giving itself experience. And once you taste that and understand that, you'll start having compassion in a way for why there is creation. You know, I was meditating one time out of the mind, I was going closer, and I was speeding closer to the Godhead. And it said to me, if you come any closer, you won't be able to go back, you know. And I tried, and I tried, and I almost couldn't stop myself. But I did. It's enough to say that this journey you're on is prepping you for your own creation. These lower worlds are already created. Have fun. Go visit. But all that you're learning or just becoming aware of is training itself to create. Each and every one of you be your own creator. So it's divided itself in untold forms and teaching itself that each form becomes a dreamer. It's amazing. So you should always try to seek, if you seek anything in life, says, seek to know who you are and where you come from. And the only way you can know that is get rid of the conditioning, get rid of the mind, get rid of the emotions, get rid of that which limits you. Start seeing yourself as an infinite being. Don't have any signposts. Don't have any points of identification. And as you start this journey, we used to call it initiations in that card, and then you see some spiritual teachings giving initiations. But at each level of your growth, you will have karma you're burning off. And the first couple of years in your spiritual journey, you will find emotional things hitting you right and left. Your loved ones dying or tearing on you. And you have to let it all go. Because these spiritual beings will run you through the mill. God itself will run itself through the mill to home itself. So you always have to be willing to let go of that which comes to you. Don't hold on to it. Don't bite on it like a dog. Let it go. It doesn't matter. Don't put anything in here. Don't put anything in here but the allness of life. You won't have to give divine love because you become divine love. It's not something you perpetuate like an emotional experience. It's something that you are. It loves itself. It also hates itself. So you'll see why all this, as you progress spiritually, you'll see why all things exist here. It's hard to see why creation exists when your attention is totally in creation. So you have to learn how to let go and rise above. This is just a transient vehicle. So is your mind. So is your emotions. So be willing to let those emotions go. And as your adrenals come up, the next experience is going to be causal. You're going to have past life experiences hitting you right and left. You've got to let everything go that comes to you, even if you don't understand it. Be willing to let it all go. Don't hold on to anything. Your mental states or emotional states, let them go. Get outside of that. As you progress deeper into the now, you'll have to lose yourself. And we talked about that before. You have to lose yourself. You can no more be Dimitri. Dimitri is that body down in creation playing. But the soul running Dimitri is now free. It's in the nectar of itself, and that's the joy and ecstasy of it all. Intense at times. So always let go. Let go of yourself. Doesn't matter. All these things do not matter. What is cool is touching the divine. Moving in and realizing you're very much a part of the divine as everyone else. And that's the beauty of individuality. It's the beauty of God creating outside or within itself. You can always practice out-of-body experiences at first. It's just you traveling through your bodies, looking from another window, from another point of view. But use that and realize it's the observer, not the traveler. It's not the travel. It's not that beautiful place and that beautiful place, although there's so many cool places to be and experience. It's nirvanic. It's intense. This is a hellhole compared to where what you've been, parts of you that are in places. And when you connect to that, it's overwhelming. And you want to have fun with that. But you have to tap the self, because you are the doorway. There's no doorway anywhere. You can take a spaceship to who knows where. The only doorway to the Godhead is you. And then you touch yourself the most when you're totally alone. And those are intense states of the now. Above that soul plane, you see how you don't move anymore at all. Everything is created for you, or you create it. There's nothing created there. And you journey deeper into the Godhead by becoming more of what is. And all you can do is just become more, let go more, let go more, become more of the all of things. And there's no definition to that. So being yourself is hard to define. The problem is definition requires the mind. Because God doesn't have to define itself. It already is. It plays by defining itself. Because that way it gets to see all parts of itself. So it's a heck of a journey. And then of course you guys, a lot of you are being healers, which is, unbelievable power to this universe. And this is an already, remember we talked about already created creation. You already know what you're going to experience. If you relax and tap into it, it'll all just start manifesting in front of you. You don't have to plan anything. It's already coming. And you already know it. But the conscious mind sometimes is so closed off with thoughts and images that you forget that. And you should never forget that. That's why we talked about the little baby. We teach them to forget. You all remember the story about the mom and the little baby? And the little girl that went up to the baby and said, "Baby, tell me about God again, I'm about to forget." That's pretty intense for a 5-year-old to say to a baby. So it shows you the high level of souls that are coming into this planet. And we're here to prepare these bodies for them. And you'll see that. When you study spirituality, you hear about the indigo children, you hear about the golden children and all this. Just look around at the kids and their awareness. Talk to your children as if they're these giant souls and listen inwardly to what they have to tell you. It's amazing. This, to me, God should always be the priority. And we were talking about this the other day. Sometimes you have to forget and be an atheist almost. You almost have to forget there is nothing. I went through a phase where there is no God. All nature is happening. Like the guy in the wheelchair, talks about the universe. I saw a special the other day, and his conclusion is there is no God. It's all just matter, energy, space, and time. But he's wrong. He's mad. He's trapped. His own mind trapped him as his own body trapped him. Once he breaks loose of that or lets go, and he'll probably pass before he does. And then he'll see. But sometimes you have to let it all go to find it. So, let it all go. You'll detox better. So spirituality is almost an undefined consciousness because it's wrapped in with love, it's wrapped in with respect, it's wrapped in with humility. It's the awakening. And you can't say that one thing is more spiritual over another because this is just creation. We're just waking up out of the drama. We're waking up out of a good movie that lost yourself for a long time. The movie's good when God makes it. A lot of directors are getting out there too. You go to some of these good movies and you forget that. Use contemplation sometimes, like we're doing. Use the hue or use Om. I don't care what you use. But the hue is a very powerful word. And it'll harmonize your energy with these high levels of spirit or prana or life force or whatever you wish to call the essence of God. But if you take a look around, you'll see the beauty that's everywhere. It's all these states of consciousness. particularly what the human level has done with us. And it's okay. Doesn't matter. Nobody's really getting hurt, are they? That's the problem. We have all these bodies and we have all these levels of experience. But once you kick back away from that and you understand yourself as soul, nothing can touch you anymore. No matter what they do to your body or bodies. You're free. And for those that want to know more about the Godhead, just keep surrendering to the moment. You know, all spiritual beings and masters talk about that. And now you're seeing that brought out. Like I said, Deepak, there was a seminar, Return to Yourself, things like this. However, there's a lot of levels to the self. And not everyone is talking about the same level we are today. When you get into that pure mental world, it's called cosmic consciousness. Or another word known in Christianity is Christ consciousness. That is such a nirvanic experience, I can't even tell you. That's when I see you and me as one. That's when you all recognize that all things are one. That is the universal mind as talked about by Holmes. Holmes wrote volumes about the universal mind. Read some of his material sometimes. Some souls, they claim, can stay there for eons. It's so nirvanic. Still in creation, but you don't feel that. You don't know that. You don't see duality like we do here. But there's more. That's just the highest levels of creation. We're not even outside of creation yet, and you feel like you're the all. And that's where most religions stop. There's one Radha group. Kirpal Singh years ago ran that group, the Singh family. Darshan Singh was here one time and I went to listen to him, but even though they recognized this soul plane, he wasn't teaching from there. He was teaching in the lower part, and this is the problem with a lot of these spiritual masters and beings, that they don't get you out of creation. That's why I like the Ek Masters, because few trod where they've been. There is a being that channels at the soul plane. This channels that energy. And that being is well known as Sat, S-A-T, Nam, N-A-M. A well understood being, known, unbelievable, manifest so you can see a form, but as formless as you are at that level. It's a cool level to be at. I spent 10 days, my 5th initiation in Ekankar is the soul plane initiation. I spent 10 days in the city of what I call the city of light. No matter where I went, here, it was all light. I couldn't get away from this city where beings walked around, didn't talk to each other. And it was intense light, and day and night, through my night, every time. I couldn't get out of this city. It was intense aloneness. Pretty cool. And it started training me to be alone, to get into that alone state. Pretty cool stuff. So that's where you guys are going, same journey. Let go. And just be all the time. Let things manifest for you now. Don't always try to make them manifest. There's karma in making things manifest. And you don't want to take on more karma in your lives. Wind down what you already have. And how you wind down what you already have is you don't create more. Every time you use your mind, you can create more. It's okay if you want to experience it, because you're going to experience exactly what you create or where you shine your light. Wherever you shine your light, that's your attention. In a way of speaking, you are your attention. You are consciousness. And that's what I was talking about. India was an important place on this planet to show man the understanding of consciousness and awareness and what that means. Intelligence. To Western man, intelligence is the mind. Bullhockey, they say. The mind has no awareness. You have the awareness. You turn on the switch of your mind. You turn on the switch of your emotions, and you turn on the switch of the physical body. Notice that if the silver cord, the soul doesn't go into the body don't hang around, does it? That's the power feed. Until you cut that cord, you still have your bodies. You can be out of your body and travel all you want. You cut that connection and you're done with this body. So, it's all about you anyway, right? So there is no fear because you're going nowhere. You already exist in the eternal now. It's just getting yourself to become aware of that. To stop that mind from chattering and pulling your attention away from yourself. It's hard to understand because we're taught in Western world that God is a being. Very immature mind here. There's no description of the all. It's intense. It's so intense it can burn you. Some of us have created our little play places outside of the Godhead. It's too intense. And so you can picture yourself some pretty cool places. I had an experience once where I was in this beautiful place that was all white with trim gold. Everything was gold trimmed and bright and white as a white feather on a white peacock. Well, these are my buddies. I realize this is the place we created for ourselves so we can have some semblance of some form. So you want to make this a fun journey, and you never want to be afraid of that, because what's to be afraid of? Yourself? You have to be careful about spirituality on this planet. There's a lot of psychics and there's a lot of people channeling beings. Why channel anybody? Any psychic is no different than you. Any ascended master, Saint Germain, any of these people, they're no different than you are. They just surrendered more. They become God more. That's what turns me on about a master, is that they surrender to the Godhead more. They're more about God than anything else. What's your experiences? Amazing. Some of these masters. And then there's some masters that will try to trap you. There's all kinds out there. So even in the walk of life and walking through creation, your protection is yourself. If you have someone come up to your house and you don't want them in, you don't let them in, do you? Well, don't let other people in your consciousness. Most people are open doors. Learn how to protect yourself. Because there's a lot of beings, a lot of people or souls on this planet, immature. When you get out of the body, you'll talk to souls that have never been at this level. I remember the first time I met some beings on other planes, and I said, well, we've never been down there. Figuratively speaking. I said, like? I said, oh, you need to go. You need to enjoy that. It's so claustrophobic. It's unbelievable. But it is experiences, and you come out strong and powerful. Because you get to develop yourself into worlds where you're totally the creator. And if you'll read Paul Twitchell's book, The Tiger's Fang, you'll see what level that is when you start having those experiences. That's why the maturity here is important. Because you can channel negative forces as you can positive. And so you have to be more in control of consciousness. Because as your creation comes out, and just look at your world right now. Your world right now is your creation, figuratively speaking. So everything you're experiencing, you set up for yourself. Just remember that. Might not feel it. And you always go, why me? And I say that to myself too. But the way to end that, to create peace and joy and harmony, is to be that. Don't wish it. I'm going to have it someday. No, stop. Be it now. It's either right now or it's never. It's like getting into health. Strap it on, ride to put the robe on and ride the bull. or it'll always elude you. And the answers to life will always elude you until you realize that you're the key. You can use these contemplative exercises to put yourself anywhere you want. And traveling is initially the fun thing to do. I've been trying to get some of you to the 1,000-petal lotus. I've always enjoyed that experience. You and I both have shared that experience. Neurotic. Sits on 3 mountain peaks in the top of the astral world, Shaheshwar Del Carnival. And this is, you've heard the 1,000-petal lotus in Hinduism, but it's a real powerhouse. It powers up the energy for the astral and the physical worlds, and it is intense, and it has more colors than you've ever seen, or that you can remember seeing. Remember that? It's intense. When I first saw it, I had a neurotic experience just looking at it. The powerhouse of these lower worlds, and there's more powerhouses to visit. There's all kinds of things. It's infinite. So for those that are developing themselves spiritually, just remember to let go whatever comes. Don't write anything, or you'll be riding a wild bronco. The longer you ride and hold on to something, the more you own it. Let go. Get it away. Give it back to Spirit, God, Prana, whoever. Give it away. Get rid of it. You want to be the life force itself. And you have to watch that last little thin, etheric world. As Carl Jung's wife said, the id, the ego. Watch that, because it likes to creep in at any opportune moment. It is the little me, but it's the little me that'll keep you from the big me. And it's hard because, survival of the individual here is important, but you already are the individual. And yet, you're the one. And it's such an intense experience that only you can have, and only you can have, and only you can have, and only you can have. I used to have volumes to say about spirituality and God, and now I have very little to say. Because what is there to say? It just is. You can talk about the God worlds, you can talk about the different spiritual beings, you can talk about the overlords or the power freaks that are channeling the energy in some of these places, but truthfully, there's just nothing to say after a while because you just keep surrendering more and more to the all. There's nothing to say about it. It's something you have to do. And we can talk about detox and all that, but until you do it, it's just chatter. So go out and walk enlightened and play with these spiritual exercises. Go to places that you enjoy. And as soon as you can see these different worlds, put yourself in these places. Move yourself around. Play and have fun with this, but always find time to spend alone, totally alone with yourself, and just relax and be. And see what manifests out of that beingness, what's coming to you. Pretty cool stuff. You just have to be careful here with all the psychic, the mind plays, the power plays, all of that. Because you don't need any of this. There's a lot of books written on subject matters, there's a lot of books written on the creation, a lot of books written on God and all kinds of theories and idealisms and stuff like this. There's nothing out there that isn't true at one level or another. But if you want the ultimate ride, you've got to get to that soul plane or above, and there's no place to get. You already dwell there because you can't be anywhere but a soul. The only illusion is that you're down here. That's just your attention. Remove your attention from these bodies. And that's what contemplation is. You're withdrawing your attention from the outer worlds. And you're becoming more of the self. There's nothing more to say about that. You have to let the karma, all your karma, run off. No matter what hits you, you let it go. Give it love. You have to give it anything. You You can give people love, but I tell you, divine love is the only karmic free, I don't even know what to call it. And divine love isn't something you have to perpetuate. It's something you already are. I look at every one of you and see the divine. And that's John and Rumi. Remember John and Rumi? He was a mystic poet. He was a teacher, a professor. And he saw God in every atom. Everything he saw was God. Everything's God in manifest. And one day he got so neurotic about it, he started whirling and whirling and whirling until he absorbed into the Godhead. Later on, they developed the whirling dervishes. He was a Sufi. And the Sufi has a phrase called God absorption. It's a good phrase. Because that's what we're all doing. We're absorbing back. It's the in-breath of God that's happening right now, you notice? All of you beautiful souls are awakening. It's pulling itself back to itself again. It needs to awaken right now. And that's why you're all here. And you take it your own journey where you can, as deep as you can. Get your bodies healthy as you can. But make yourself and consciousness the priority. And you'll appreciate that. Because when you move from this world, you leave this body, where are you going? Your karma is going to keep on going. Whatever you create, it just does not drop. Not at all. That's not how it works. You take full responsibility for everything you create. There's no getting out of that. So you have to be careful what you create. Sometimes if you step back, things will just manifest. And you let all this karma run its way. And then you're done. Time to go. And let me tell you, it is incredible. So I want to thank you all for coming and spending 4 days of your life here and visiting us. I love you all. Keep working on your journey, keep working on your health, keep letting go, keep loving everyone. You don't have to like everyone, remember? But you have to love everyone. You don't have to always like what's going on. No one said you had to. But then you don't have to have any emotions about anything at all anyway. Just is. Just is, man. Even though it's not a cop-out, it is you winding up your affairs, but in a different way. Because you want to be the biggest light you can be, the biggest awareness you can be, the biggest gift to the planet you can be. And I see some awful, beautiful, powerful souls in here. So thanks again. You have fun when you go back home. And I want you to go heal them up. I'm going to let you all go early because I have nothing more to say about it. And all the love to every one of you guys. Okay?